Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Leaky fuel coming out of the gas tank because people don't want to do the job right. That's what is up, YouTube? How's everybody out there doing today? We're going to be talking about something real quick here. I know it's been a long time since I made a video. It's probably been like 27 days since I've made a YouTube video, and I apologize. I don't have a lot of time to be making YouTube videos, honestly, but I wanted to bring out a little video, just an update video basically, on this really beautiful C7 Corvette Z06. We're going to talk about this car real quick. It's not going to be anything exciting. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, I don't know. But there is one thing about this car that I need to address with all of you guys out there that have C7 Z06s or C7s or Corvettes, that take them to these freaking shops and have them do these modifications. You guys need to understand what you're getting yourself into and what's really going on here, because it's bullshit, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing it. The first thing I'm going to show you is, so this guy came from a little bit away. There's a meth system on it. It was not done in my liking. We're actually putting on an alky control system right there. Alky control is probably one of the best freaking meth systems out there when it comes to methanol injection systems. I've been using them for years. They have really great products. They never fail. They're very simple to use, very, very easy to use. I'm not going to name the name of the meth system that was on it, but we'll just go from there. But you see this beautiful supercharger hat? Well, somebody decided to tap holes into the side of it for the meth system that was on the car, and it was just ridiculous. And now you got a damaged hat, you know what I mean? Now you got a damaged hat that I had to go get plugs for. Now, yes, I could have welded, I could have had these aluminum welded shut, sand them down, re-powder coat this, but this was already powder coated when it came up here. So I had to get 4 of these plugs, 1/8 NTP plugs, and plug that off. Go on the other side here, you see that right there, you know? So that's all plugged off, but it looks like, you guys, it looks like crap. It looks like freaking crap. Because now there's freaking Frankenstein knuckles coming out this guy's top hat of his supercharger that he paid for. That now, that's the only thing I can really do to make this look fitting enough to look even nice. It's ridiculous. Like, I would have never in my entire life drilled holes into this unless it was. Here's the problem, is that methanol, okay, leaked onto the heat exchangers, and I think what happened was it caught on fire. I don't want to say this, but the car had a little bit of an explosion, not because of me, because another person had a little bit of explosion. I think it's because the meth system, the methanol was dripping on the hot or the radiator, or not radiator, what am I talking about? The hot heat exchangers, and it ignited underneath this hat. This is the dumbest thing ever. Put it in the intake tract. Right there, in the intake tract, after the MAF sensor. That's all you gotta do, is just put it right there. It's not that big of a deal. You know what the benefit of it is, to put it right there, guys, is that methanol has time, because methanol is a liquid. It's a liquid, guys, okay? That methanol needs to have some time to atomize a little bit, okay? Just like fuel, just like anything else. Needs some time to atomize. When you put it further back in the intake tract, out before the MAF sensor, or after the MAF sensor, obviously, it sucks through the engine, through the supercharger. In this case, we're going to use this as an example, not a turbo setup, but supercharger setup. It sucks through the intake, has time to atomize with the air that's going in the intake as well. It's not a complete liquid. It's not dripping and sitting on shit that's hot that could ignite it, because methanol is flammable, people. It will go kaboom, and it will light up on fire. You don't want to put it near hot shit, basically. That's one of the reasons why, like, alky control includes this heat blanket setup to use on your washer bottle if you're going to use the washer bottle as your reservoir in a C7 Z06. This has a bucket in the back, so we're not going to be utilizing that, so that's not a concern. But the heat from under the engine bay and the header and all that stuff, they include that wrap to keep that heat away from the methanol, because methanol will evaporate. What the hell? Methanol will evaporate under heat and will also explode under intense heat. It'll catch on fire. Bad news bears, guys. So when you're doing a methanol system, put the freaking nozzle as far back the intake tract as possible after the MAF sensor. You don't want to hit in the MAF, it'll fuck things up. The temperature and stuff of what this MAF's reading. But put it as far back to the intake track as possible. It gives the methanol a lot of time to atomize into the intake track and mix with the oxygen and turn into tiny little particles instead of a thicker spray that's coming out of the nozzle. So there's one thing. The next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is ridiculously, and I don't understand how anybody in their right mind will allow any shop to do this to their freaking car. I would never do this to any customer's car, period. We're gonna put this thing up in the air and I'm gonna show you. It's pissing me off, like, oh, hold on. Air compressor's on, you know, air compressor. This is just a quick job I'm trying to punch out real fast, you know, for the guy. He had some bad luck with the last place it was at, you know, and yada, yada, yada. So let's get this thing up in the air. I'm gonna show you what is going on here. And I'm not pointing fingers. I mean, I'd like to be honest with you, because the people that do these systems on these cars are taking your money. And they're just giving you a shit project is what they're giving you. It's stupid. Like, it's freaking dumb. That's why we're gonna get to it, guys. We're gonna get to it. Just let this thing go up in the air here. This 1954 freaking lift. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. All right, that should be good enough. Stupid air compressor. We're gonna let the air compressor stop. That way I can discuss what is going on with this freaking car and what I hate seeing on these cars and the Camaros and everything else. All right, air compressor's done making noise. So now we're gonna talk about modifications to vehicles. Is there enough light in here? Modifications to vehicles that need additional fueling. You probably know where I'm freaking going with this, guys. That need additional fueling when you do heads, cam, ported superchargers, turbo systems, shit like that, especially on a C7. We're going to use this C7 obviously as the example here because that way you guys can see what the hell's going on. But a lot of places do this, is they do auxiliary fuel systems. Do you know why they do auxiliary fuel systems on C7s and on Z06s and these newer vehicles, these Camaros and LT4, ZL1s and stuff like that? And you know why they do aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but auxiliary fuel systems on here? I'm gonna tell you why. Because they're too damn lazy to drop the fuel tank out and do a proper fuel system from like Squash or For Innovations or something like that, because they don't want to spend $3,000 on a fuel system and then installation costs. That's why. So you know what they do? You know what they do? They do these stupid auxiliary systems that have a fuel pump hidden in somewhere, and then they tap your fuel tank right there. They tap the fuel tank. Now, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something here, guys, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. You're just gonna love it. Bear with me. Let me get my flashlight out here of my phone because I lost my other one. But look at that. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Leaky fuel coming out of the gas tank because people don't want to do the job right. That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. You see that shit? These things always leak. They always freaking leak, unless the person that's putting them in puts gobs of freaking goo and JB Weld and silicone and shit that doesn't belong in a gas tank, obviously, on there to keep it from leaking. But look, they leak every time. And it sucks. Let me get back here. It sucks. So they tap the bottom of the fuel tank, the gas tank, and then it ends up leaking like this one, which I got to now fix because it's wrong. It's been done incorrectly because somebody wanted to be lazy and unfortunately do the job not correctly. The pump's probably up in the wheel well here, hidden up here somewhere. You know what I mean? These auxiliary fuel pumps they're great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. Great idea, junk way of installing them. You're drilling into a gas tank, okay? You're drilling into a gas tank, and then you are now effectively ruining that entire gas tank. That can never be fixed. Like, you can never re-plastic weld that back together again. That's done. Like, that gas tank is going to need replaced eventually if this guy ever decides to go with a professional fuel system from like For Innovations or Squash or something of that nature, where there's actually a dual or triple pump setup on a hat that sits on top where the stock fuel pumps used to be. Stop doing these auxiliary fuel systems. Stop letting people do these auxiliary fuel systems to your freaking $60, $70, $80, $90,000 freaking car. It's ruining your shit. I'm sorry. People that believe in them can hate me all they freaking want. I don't care. But I've seen it so many freaking times and so often I'm sick of seeing it. It's not the right way to do it. It's a Band-Aid, and then you have fuel leaks like this. I don't know about you, but if I was, I had a $70,000, $80,000 Z06, I wouldn't want to be losing fuel mileage in this fucking day and age, to be honest. And here we are. You know what I mean? Here we are. So now I got to fix it and make it right. Do not do these auxiliary fuel systems. Do not let any company talk you into doing these stupid, let's drill a hole in your gas tank and then we'll fucking tap it and it'll never leak. It's bullshit, guys. It's going to leak. It's eventually going to freaking leak. And you're eventually going to have fuel problems. And worst case scenario, if the thing somehow, somebody flicks a cigarette out of their car, it hits the ground while you're leaking fuel in front of them or in back of them or beside them, and it lights up and catches on fire. I know that's far-fetched, but it freaking can happen, guys. It can happen, which makes things a lot worse, obviously. But these fuel tanks were not meant to be drilled and tapped and all this other dumb shit at low elevation. You got to figure gasoline weighs 6 pounds a gallon. Okay, so every gallon of gasoline weighs between 5 to 7 pounds. So around 6.5 pounds, I think, is what gasoline weighs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm pretty close. That weight, when you fill your tank up, when this guy fills his gas tank all the way to the brim, all that weight is now pushing on that little screwed-in fitting. It's going to leak. It's going to leak because you have all that weight of that fuel pushing out of that area and trying to push out of them threads and push past the threads and the plastic and everything. And as it gets hotter out, I don't know if you guys knew this, but as it gets hotter, plastic and materials expand and contract under heat and cold. So when this thing gets hot, like a 90-degree summer day, and that heat that's radiating off of the freaking concrete or off of the macadam is now that much closer to what? This right here, and the exhaust. That's all heat. And guess what that heat does? It contracts that plastic and makes it move around. Don't tell me it doesn't. It does. But it makes it move it around. This only does so much protection. It only does so much protection, but it contracts, it compresses, it does all kinds of cool, weird shit when you apply heat to it. And it's going to leak again. It's going to find ways to leak. Liquid always finds ways to get where it wants to go. End of discussion. So if you're going to do a fuel system on a C706 or a ZL1 Camaro or a Mustang or any freaking thing else out there, don't do an auxiliary fuel system. It's the stupidest, dumbest, cheapest thing to do, and companies will talk you into doing it because they want to throw a cheap-ass pump in, make some cheap-ass fucking AN line, and drill and tap a fucking hole in your gas tank because then they can charge you $4,000 freaking dollars when they only literally had $500 in parts involved, and they make a killing, and there you go. And then you end up with problems like this. So, there, guys. Lesson for the day. Don't do dumb shit. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Instagram, BATTLite Racing, and deuces.